Shubhanshi,
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good
Yeah,
afternoon.
good afternoon, Shubhanshi.
how are you today?
I'm good, ma'am.
Okay. Shubhanshi, you belong to Fatehpur, huh?
Yes, ma'am. That's my ancestral place.
Okay, you don't belong to Fatehpur.
Ma'am, I have been born and brought up in Kanpur. My
How
parents are.
many, how many hours away from Fatehpur is Kanpur? That you're so defensive about Fatehpur? It's
Ma'am,
still morning.
it's
Can you tell
hardly.
me, can you tell me the major places on the route between Fatehpur and Kanpur?
Ma'am, there is a place called Malwa, wherein the sweet savory of Malwa Peda is very famous.
Cross the
And,
border this side and then tell me. Cross the
ma'am,
border to Kanpur and tell me.
ma'am, on the border of Kanpur, we have Maharajpur. And then going towards Fatehpur, I'm unable to recall the places right now, but the major landmark is Malwa, and then we get to Fatehpur. It hardly takes, like it used to take 2 hours. Now it takes even lesser time because of the highways that have been built up, around
What was
one
the
and a
original
half.
road then? What is the significance of that road connecting Kanpur and Fatehpur? What was it known as?
Ma'am, I'll have to go and look that up. I'm really sorry, I'm not
Have you
aware.
ever heard of the GT road?
Yes, ma'am, that is the GT road crosses the entire Kanpur. It's
Okay. Relax, first of all. Don't be defensive. Don't be nervous.
so.
Relax. I also started my career in Kanpur. Okay. Now I am trying to understand your biodata.
Yes,
You are a civil engineer from IIT Kanpur
yes, ma'am.
with very top scores. Then you got into data.
Yes,
Then
ma'am.
you did English literature.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
now you want to do the civil service. What are you?
Ma'am, I would say that when I was to choose a career in my plus two school years, I had an acumen for mathematics, and while choosing the branch civil engineering, I tried to see and talk to some experts, some professors, and tried to know about the branch, that what it encompasses and how it goes about. And I found it very interesting. And according to my rank, also, that was the branch that I was getting. And what interested me was the diversity within the branch. It
Very
had
good. Then you
environmental
left it. You
industry.
went to data. Why?
Ma'am, I switched to data because the research work that I did during college, therein I was involved in analyzing a lot of data, and that is something that interested me. So, ma'am, I took up that job. And
Then you
yeah,
moved on to literature. Why?
ma'am, literature as a subject interested me. I like critically analyzing things and looking at them from different perspectives. That is the essence of
So you
literature.
never thought of becoming an analyst as a profession because you like critically analyzing things? Why did you then get into civil services?
Ma'am, my reason for getting into civil services is somewhere associated with, if you would allow me, I'd like to quote an anecdote over here.
Short
The
one.
Yes, ma'am. So as I said that I was involved in research during college years, there was an on-field survey that I was involved in. Like I had to assess the health impacts of the poor air quality that is caused due to using biomass as a burning fuel by the villagers in a nearby village from college. And there, the simple survey that created such a lot of hope amongst the people that there is someone there out to help us. Something will happen, something will change. And
That's
that,
the wily Indian villagers. Whenever you go, anyone goes from outside, they stand with a begging bowl. You will
no,
realize
ma'am,
that anybody comes from outside. They won't cooperate unless they get something.
ma'am, that was not the case. They were very welcoming. Like they
Maybe
used,
you know better than me with 40 years of experience, but I'm sure you know better.
I'm
Okay,
really
now
sorry.
we'll come down to now our worry is okay, you get into civil service, investing a lot of money in you, in training and everything. And then you realize suddenly the stock market interests you. It's wonderful. The bull run is there. We love the stock market. And you decide to become a merchant banker. Deutsche Bank, pay you the world. So what is the guarantee? Because the way you've been switching everywhere.
Ma'am, I would say that if stock market and only money would have interested me, I would have never come to civil
We
services.
don't know, no? We don't know. No, no. You might find the stock market fascinating. It is fascinating. You might just find it so interesting. Then,
Ma'am, I feel that the job satisfaction that I would get over here is something that I would cling on to.
you're so passionate about civil engineering, then you're so passionate about data, then you're so passionate with your field visit, village visit. So and you're passionate about literature. So that's the thing. Anyway, we'll drop that for the time being and discuss. Okay. Do you like Robert Browning?
Ma'am, I haven't read his works.
Why? English literature is your subject?
Ma'am, that is my optional subject. I have read things, but to some limited extent only.
All right. So which poet, romantic poet have you read, or any poet? Have you read Eliot, D.S. Eliot, Wasteland?
Yes, ma'am, I've read.
Okay. And can you tell me two polar poetries of Eliot? Wasteland is one, the
Yes,
other end. Very light, very comic. What is that?
Ma'am, I'm not able to recall a comic poem, but I can recall Burnt Norton, which is somewhat.
Have you ever heard of Macavity?
Ma'am,
Macavity, the mystery cat, that's very un-Eliot Eliot. All Proof Rock and all that is all Eliot. What else did you study? Did you study Keats?
Ma'am, Keats, I have read somewhat, but not the poems of Keats.
All right, we'll drop literature then.
Thanks a lot, ma'am, for adding on.
All right. So
I'll
now
definitely.
we'll come. No, it doesn't matter. It's okay. We'll come now to closer to home. Now, you belong to Kanpur.
Yes, ma'am.
In Kanpur, Dehat, there was an incident when a mafioso was killed, a gangster was killed.
Yes, ma'am.
So what do you think of these extrajudicial killings? Closer, beyond Fatehpur, Allahabad,
Yes, ma'am.
a mafia was killed. What do you think about these things that are happening in UP? Two particular cases, Dubey and Atik, on both sides of where you are.
Yes, ma'am. Those cases are there. But, ma'am, if we look at the statistical proofs of how the encounter killings happened.
I asked you, what do you think of it? We know all the stats. Yes. What do you think of it? What are your views?
Ma'am, I feel that if proper proper standard operating procedure is being followed, and if the encounter
for killing a person, it's an SOP for killing a person.
Not killing a person, but catching the criminal or taking custody of that criminal.
No, there's no issue on taking custody. The issue is what happens after custody. Atiq Ahmed was being taken to the medical checkup in the night, and Dubey was picked up from Mahakal, from Ujjain.
Ma'am,
doesn't matter. They come into police custody. They were offenders.
Yes,
Atiq Ahmed was a mafia. How many people he killed? And Dubey had ambushed and killed a police party that had come, apart from other killings that he'd done. There's no doubt that they did not deserve mercy or sympathy. But I'm talking about extrajudicial killings. What do you think of that?
Ma'am, I feel that during encounters, the intention of the police is not to kill the person, but self-defense. And in self-defense, if such a thing happens,
so Atiq Ahmed was armed with AK-47s and killing all the police parties around. What happened?
Ma'am, that was an unfortunate incident. That was somewhere a flaw at side of the government and the administration, wherein the proper protection could not be provided. However, the
CM of UP has declared that he is going to make UP crime-free. And a lot of people believe that there's no other way other than taking a shortcut if your intention is good, because the court cases will go on forever, witnesses will turn hostile or be bumped off. In fact, they have made a clause in the new Evidence Act about protection to witnesses. So that concern is there where the government comes from. But do you condone it? What do you think of it? Come to the point.
I think that using extrajudicial killing as a norm is not something that should be encouraged.
Who will decide the norm? With your case is extrajudicial, mine is not. Who will decide that?
Ma'am, a proper investigation has to be followed in whatever incidents happen, and the police force as well as the force has to be sensitized as well as trained properly to take everything else before attempting to kill a person, so that there is no threat perception that is spread, and essentially that you talk.
I'm afraid I've lost what you're saying completely, but never mind. We'll let it pass.
Sorry, ma'am.
Okay. Now, there is this issue of women wrestlers.
Yes.
You read the papers. What has happened today?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I haven't read today's news
But you are
regarding.
aware of the issue.
Yes, ma'am, aware of the issue.
So tell me in 3 sentences, beginning with last year when the problem arose, 3 or 4 sentences, what really has happened till today? Then I'll ask you my second question. Be brief as possible. Huh?
Ma'am, there were allegations by the female wrestlers regarding sexual harassment by the leadership in the wrestling federation. Ma'am, post that I'll have to check the facts first.
We are
I'm,
talking 1 year ago. You'll have to check facts now on what happened 1 year ago.
Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I should have known this issue to the depth. I'm not.
We'll let it drop. We'll let it drop then. Which women's issues would you like to discuss? We'll discuss that. Which would you like to discuss?
Ma'am, the recent bill regarding the political participation of women would be something that
Okay, very good. Very good. So first tell us in 3 sentences, what does it provide for?
Ma'am, it provides for roughly 33%.
First of all, which act is being amended, or is it a new bill, new act? What is it?
Ma'am, it is a new act that is being passed, and the constitutional provisions would be amended. And roughly 1/3 of the seats of the parliament, as well as the state legislative assemblies.
Roughly or 1/3?
1/3.
Mm-hmm.
1/3 seats of the parliament, as well as the legislative assemblies, would be reserved for female candidates. And however, this process would not come into effect immediately. First, there would be a delimitation exercise, and then a census would have to be conducted. And accordingly, the different constituencies as well as the reserved places would have to be decided.
Mm-hmm. And when was the last census done?
It was in 2011.
11, right. So now, should we hope, or should women hope, or should they despair seeing this? What is cause for hope? What is cause for despair?
Ma'am, regarding this specific act?
Of course, what we are discussing.
Ma'am, the cause for hope is that there will be a constitutional recognition of participation. So the problems that we are facing, that women do not get equal participation, there is like a meager percent of 14% women representatives. That would be resolved to some extent. However, the other side of it, although there will be a constitutional amendment in effect, however, the social problems and the intra-party democracy would still be something that would need reforms.
But what about the time frame given? There is a view that says that it is just to garner votes for this election, and there'll be 20 things coming up between now and 2029. And really, one did not need all this stuff. It just needed a quick survey. Why does it need delimitation of the existing constituencies in a roster? One could have done it. And the census has not been done for how many years now? 13 years. So, and no reason COVID is over, census may not be done. So how do you react to that?
Ma'am, I would say that this is a step that was required to be taken. And irrespective of the time that it is going.
We're looking at the timeline only. I'm only referring to the timeline issue.
Okay, ma'am. So the timeline issue, it is true that a number of things can happen in the middle. But if it does not start now, it would never, the process would never begin. And delimitation is important because the population of India, the growth rate that it is going at right now, and the point of peak of population, all this has to be taken into consideration.
Right. But the devil's advocates say that you did not have a census before delimitation in Jammu Kashmir. That's what the devil's advocates say. That why did you do it without delimitation, without that there? Anyway, these are all debatable issues. I had a lot of questions, but I will just ask one now. I've already taken a lot of time, but I did want to interact with you. Article 370, there's been a Supreme Court judgment. Tell me 2 issues that strike you, which are very debatable in the judgment. I'm not talking about 370 or issues of 370, but the Supreme Court judgment.
Ma'am, I'm really sorry. I'll have to go and look up the Supreme Court judgment and read about it properly.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Verma.
Shubhanshi,
Good afternoon, sir.
you have been a bright student. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Your GCPA was 9.6 out of 10 in BTech, IIT Kanpur.
Yes.
So you might have been the top bracket.
Yes, sir.
That's good. And civil engineering. Girls usually don't take to civil engineering, but you opted for civil engineering.
Sir, I opted for English literature.
I'm talking of your academic background.
Okay, sir. Sir, could you repeat the
BTech.
last two lines? There was some issue with the connectivity.
Okay, fine. All right. So we start with civil engineering.
Yes.
You see, these days there is a trend for going high and high. High-rise towers are now becoming so much in vogue in our own country now.
Yes, sir.
So there is a principle, there is a minimum distance which should be there between the high-rise towers. They cannot be too close to each other. Why?
Yes. Sir, see, since you asked me as a civil engineer, I would first address the technical aspects as far as I'm aware of. Sir, there is certain sway in buildings, in high-rise buildings, that has to be accounted for. And the wind velocity that is there at a greater height, it increases. And with India's climatic conditions and the different types of weather systems that are there, there has to be an additional safety factor. So this is one technical reason. Second would be, sir, in case of any mishap, there has to be considerable distance so that the impact is not being transmitted to the adjacent buildings. And sir, looking at it from a practical point of view, I would say that proper ventilation and air circulation is also an important factor that needs to be considered.
Okay. What about if the tower is coming up in a seismically active zone like Delhi, NCR, Noida, or in the Tarai regions of Himalayas or in the Himalayas itself? So there will be one more extra region to keep minimum distance.
Yes, sir. So the earthquake norms have to be considered
You
according
missed it.
to national building codes.
Don't miss it. This should have been the first.
I'm really sorry, sir. Thank
Because
you,
if there is you said sway, correct?
Yes, sir.
Sway will get magnified in the event of a seismic happening,
Yes.
earthquake. Even a minor earthquake will shake tower in a big way.
Yes, sir.
And if they are too close, they will collide against each other.
And the effect.
They will fall.
Yes,
And
sir.
they will fall. All right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Thank you,
So,
sir.
because your GCPA is so good and you are an IIT product, so you should be ready to handle a question concerning your academic background.
Yes, sir.
And it will come from the day-to-day life observations that we have. Like I'm coming to the next.
Yes.
It is, we generally in our country, we go for the blacktop road. We don't that much go for the concrete roads. We go for blacktop, that is bitumen topped. Huh?
Yes, sir.
And it is said that water is enemy of bitumen. Huh? Am I right?
Yes, sir. It is said, sir.
So what do you do to stabilize it? So that the road doesn't get damaged in the rains.
So the reason why we look for bitumen roads is because we need flexibility.
Oh, that's right. It absorbs shock better.
Yes, sir.
The driving experience is better on bitumen roads.
Faster speed.
And in the summers, it doesn't generate that much of heat. So the chances of tire bursting are also less.
Yes, sir.
Now, my question is concerning the how to stabilize. We have torrential rains in our country and waterlogging is common, is normal.
Yes, sir.
Generally, by nature, we create garbage everywhere and the trains get choked.
Yes, sir.
So what is done to stabilize black topped road from water?
Sir, I'm really sorry. I'm not aware of the exact
Okay, fine.
stabilization. I'm not able to recall right now, sir.
All right, no issue. It's okay. So we move on to your. I was just noticing Indian Foreign Service. You have given 6th priority.
Yes.
You don't want to be a diplomat.
Sir, I would not say that I don't want to be a diplomat. I would say that I would, like, according to what my personality is and what my aptitude and acumen is, the services that are there facing the people, that is something that I would do better in.
Okay. Or is it fear? If posted to Paris, I don't know how I will cope up.
No, sir, I would not say that it is the fear of different postings, because
Okay.
even in the other public service, the public facing services that are kept about, the posting
Okay.
would be varied and it would be anywhere in the country as all India services. So, sir, that is not the reason.
Okay, fine. So it is your temperament and your personality as you look at it.
Yes, sir. That is the primary reason, sir.
What is this reflective blogging?
Sir, reflective blogging is, as I already mentioned, that I think about things from multiple perspectives. I try to collect them together, collect those thoughts and write them in my blog, sir, about the different medias that we consume, whether it's in the audiovisual format or in the written format, like TV shows, movies, or any article I read. I think about it, I analyze it, and then I try to write what I thought.
You have a blog post?
Yes, sir. I am maintaining a website.
That's good. How many visitors you usually have?
Sir, the visitor
Reading your
count,
blogs.
yes, sir. So visitor count has reached around 1,000 till now. So it is a
That's good.
comparatively newer blog, this new one. I also have an older blog wherein
So what
I,
kind of feedback you get
sir,
on this reflective part of it?
So some few recent feedbacks, if I share, one of them was that I did not look at this TV series from this perspective at all, and you helped me a lot. And some other people also suggest certain theories that are associated with what I write, so I enjoy reading them. So
So it means they are reading seriously.
yes, sir, I would
That's
say,
very good. It's an achievement.
sir. Yes.
You wanted to say something?
Sir, I would not call it an achievement, but just something that I'm happy about.
You enjoy doing it,
Yes, sir.
and it's very necessary. You should do what you enjoy most. You should be passionate about that.
Yes, sir.
And I say you enjoy reading fiction. How does fiction help you in self-improvement or development of your personality or your pursuits like cracking UPSC and all that?
Sir,
Or
fiction.
is it wastage of time? If you pick up a novel of 100 pages or 400 pages, it will take a day, even if you are a very fast reader. So a day is gone or a week is gone.
Sir, it
So how does
definitely
it help you? How does it help?
Sir, as you asked, at a personal level as well as in my career pursuits. So first, answering my personal level, I would say that reading fiction, it opens me to a wide variety of cultures, what society is and what
Cultures,
could be.
cultures or
Cul-
ideas.
Cultures, ideas, different way how people think, how they feel, how they process different events. Although it is a work of fiction and not reality, but as we say that fiction is essentially a mirror of the society, sir. So if I
That's
read an 18th century novel, I would know that how 18th century people were, how they used to think. And probably there is something I can pick up from there and apply to my life.
if you read a serious fiction, you will know that society as well.
Yes, sir, definitely. So that is something I have been.
If you read Somerset Maugham, you will know the London society of that time, UK society of that time. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All
And
right. Let's
sir, in my job, if you say, if I know and I understand the pain, the problems, and the happiness of people, I would be able to accept them better. And that is one of the chief
So
requirements of the
reading
job.
fiction has helped you in broadening your horizon, self-improvement.
Yes, sir, it has. Sir, it has
Hmm?
made me more patient and more tolerant to different ideas.
Which
And
was the last novel you read?
sir, The Hunger Games by Susan Collins, the trilogy. It's a science fiction, sir, and it is a tale about undying passion and facing adversities. No matter how bad things go, the protagonist kept her head high.
Have you read Fountainhead,
I'm sorry, sir, I haven't read it yet.
Exodus?
No, sir.
Okay. These may not be relevant to your age. These were relevant to my age when I was your age.
Sir, I
Okay,
have
fine.
read classic fictions like Pride and
Hmm?
Prejudice.
What did you say?
Sir, I have read some classic fiction also, like
But,
Pride and
but,
Prejudice.
but some fictions never die.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree with that,
Hmm?
sir.
Gaudan by Premchand never die.
Yes,
It
sir.
is always evergreen. Okay. So my
Yes.
last question. You are from UP.
Yes, sir.
What is happening in Ayodhya?
Sir, in Ayodhya, the Ram Mandir that is being built right now, and it would be
How you
inaugurated.
look at it?
Sir, from what
No, I
perspective?
have not completed my answer.
Sir, can you?
If you look at Hinduism,
Yes, sir.
we have many gods.
Yes, sir.
Somebody is worshipping Ram, somebody is worshipping Krishna, somebody is worshipping Shankar.
Yes, sir.
Hmm? So
Yes,
putting entire focus on one, how you react to it?
sir. The place is associated with a specific god, that is Lord Rama, and the religious beliefs and the cultural beliefs of the people there. They associated with a specific god, and building one building in with reference to one god does not mean that we are undermining or not respecting the values or the faith of others.
Okay.
Because if you since you specifically mentioned Hinduism is a
Of course,
religion.
when we talk of Ayodhya, we are talking of Hinduism.
Sir, it is something. It is a religion that essentially it talks about multiculturalism and acceptance of the different cultures together, coexistence of all of them. So one favoring one in that means would not mean disrespecting others.
My last question.
Yes, sir.
What did Supreme Court say about elections in 370 judgment? It's judgment on Article 370. The Honorable Supreme Court said something about elections in J&K. What was that?
Sir, I'm very sorry. This is something I should have been updated with. I would definitely go and read up about it, sir.
Take care of the current affairs because
Yes,
these are fresh in the mind of everybody.
yes, sir.
Okay. Fine, Shubhanshi. Nice interacting with you. Please take over.
So, Varun, please.
Okay. Right. You're a civil engineer and a gold medalist, right? From IIT Kanpur?
Yes, sir.
So it seems so strange that you haven't taken civil engineering. You perhaps are the best civil engineer we have in India, right? That kind of
That would be
that
an exaggeration, sir.
you got the gold medal from IIT Kanpur, right?
So that gold
That
medal
says
was for my project.
that only, right?
So the gold medal that I received was for a BTech project, the best BTech project by a female graduating student.
Okay. So in your class, what was your rank in IIT Kanpur?
The institute has a very strict policy of not awarding the ranks.
Huh? Which institute is that? There's no honor roll call in every institute. Why are you lying in an interview?
Sir, it is specifically mentioned, sir. It does not give a rank, sir. It does give medals, but it does not explicitly give a rank in the department.
Okay, right. Now coming, so, in English literature, you don't seem to be an expert. That's coming out clearly in the interview, right? So the question becomes is why did you choose it despite being an expert in another field?
Sir, I would say that being an expert is something that is not definable, sir.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the syllabus, I looked at the previous year questions, and I thought that my acumen, my interest, and my aptitude for the subject would be something that would help me to handle the subject well. So that is why.
I agree. But
Yes, sir.
if I compare you with other people of English literature, right, you perhaps are not at the level that we would expect, right?
So that was a challenge, and I
Okay, so
took
you
it.
want to say that, right? So you wanted to take a challenge. Okay. Right. Moving ahead, right, uh, you so went to work at American Express for briefly, right? What was the experience there, and what were job responsibilities there?
Sir, I worked from home for the 18 months that I worked. And
Mm-hmm.
sir, my responsibility was in a fully owned subsidiary of American Express,
Mm-hmm.
wherein we used to optimize the models and
Mm-hmm.
make new products to reduce the fraud losses of the merchants.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a data analyst there. So
Okay, right. So there's lots of frauds happening right now in India, right? And they're altering frauds, etc. There are cyber thefts, crimes, etc. How do you think data analysis can help the police and the administration in solving such crimes?
yes, sir, it is a very important tool in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just list out some brief things that it can be used in. So one of them is regarding the frauds specifically, we can analyze the behavior of the fraudsters
Mm-hmm.
and we can learn from them and deploy different models to detect the frauds in future and to warn the customers.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, sir, we can identify the locations from which the frauds are coming from. And by location, I just not mean the geographical location, but also the telecommunicative location, like from what numbers, from what networks, from what internet networks they are coming from. So that would help in detection. And thirdly, sir, since you asked specifically to such frauds, I would say that we could also warn the different card companies, the networks, as well as the different point of service devices and the merchants that what sort of fraud is, what sort of activity is a possible fraud activity,
Mm-hmm.
and they should consider blocking a card or something of that sort. So
Okay, right. Okay, moving ahead, right, there are lots of issues happening in the Red Sea, right? Can you talk about that? The Red Sea has been in news recently. Why has it been, and what's the issue?
so the surrounding area of Red Sea, the great geopolitical conflict that was happening, the Israel-Hamas
Mm-hmm.
attacks, that is one of the chief events.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very sad reality of the high use of terrorist activities that were being conducted, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of loss of life was also there. So,
Okay,
so that
right.
is what I'm aware
So,
of. So,
okay, so there were two ships which were attacked recently, right? Can you do you have any idea about that?
sir, I did come across the news, but I'm sorry, I did not go into the depth yet. I still have to read about it,
No
sir.
problem. No problem. Right, Shikhar.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah. Hi, Shubhanshi. What, in your opinion, in which direction is Indian entrepreneurship moving? IITs have given us a lot of entrepreneurs. Do you see a positive future of entrepreneurship in India?
Yes, sir. I see a very positive future of entrepreneurship. And addressing this question, that how do you see the entrepreneurship going from multiple aspects? First, from the economic aspect, the risk-taking aptitude of Indians is increasing. And we see that there are around 108 unicorns in India and in a very short period of time. And the government policies are also encouraging towards entrepreneurship, like Stand Up India, Startup India. Secondly, sir, from the social perspective, entrepreneurship is something that would help in inclusive growth of the economy, not just GDP growth, but human development growth also. The different SSGs that are there at the rural level, the grassroots level, they would also come up to a level of probably, like, I am a very visionary person and I would like to see the SSGs coming up to a unicorn level, sir, and probably at a multinational level also.
I'm like putting you in a situation. Let's say 10, 15 years down the line, you are the top IAS of the state, and you also sense an opportunity, and you could make a company out of it. So would you leave IAS to make a unicorn out of it?
Sir, I would say that if I am the chief IAS, like the top bureaucrat of that state, and I see a opportunity, sir, first of all, I would see that if the opportunity is like, who is responsible for that? Since sir, I would be there in the administrative services, I would not be the person who is building that unicorn. So, sir, be like staying in the administration, I would try and help the process of that unicorn, like that SHG or that organization becoming a unicorn, and help them, sir. I would not leave the services.
Okay.
As far as I can think right now,
Okay.
sir.
Moving on, next question. What is that something which impacts almost everyone in a constituency, yet is not an election issue?
So may I take a few seconds to think about
Yeah,
it?
sure, please.
So one instance that there might be multiple things, but from my limited knowledge, one thing that I can think of, belonging to the city of Kanpur, I would say that bad air quality is something
That's
that
it.
is
That was what I was looking for, because you've done a project on it, and air quality, it's such a major issue. Nobody still talks about it. It's not an election issue. And mudslinging apart, not an election issue. Okay. And you said that literature, fiction is reflection of the society.
Yes, sir.
Do you think the reader is a mirror of the fiction that one reads, or maybe, or does fiction impact a reader? How has it impacted you?
Sir, since we are talking of the bad air quality, just before that, I'll take up that lead and give my answer. Sir, I read a book called Hard Times by Charles Dickens. It is an industrial novel, and it shows how smoke lives and breathes through the people in the 19th century London, the Industrial Revolution times. And sir, today that is the reality of most of North India, sir. So learning from that, I can see that how if we go on in that direction without considering our actions and without taking course correction and without sensitizing the issue as well as addressing it at different policy levels from local to national level, sir, what impacts, what serious and grave impacts it can happen. That is something I can see from the fiction that I read, sir.
Great. What has been your favorite dystopian text?
Sir, I would quote Fahrenheit 451 over here, sir. That is by Ray Bradbury.
Right. So you liked it? What part of it?
Sir, the way that Ray Bradbury visualized how so the restrictions on literature, on the written word, the restrictions on reading, how.
What does Fahrenheit 451 signify?
Sir, it is the temperature at which paper burns. And the novel talks about burning everything that is there in the written word and feeding the people with audiovisual content only. Right. So something that is very disastrous in my opinion, sir.
Right. One last question. What is the prime difference between English literature that we see in US, UK, and India?
Sir, from what my limited knowledge about the subject, I would say that Indian English literature has more diverse content, and the Indian writing literature, and specifically quoting a Indian author, Mr. Raja Rao, in his Kantapura, he mentioned that there is a very distinctive Indian style of writing, which is very different from what and where English originated, the US and the UK, as you mentioned, sir. So Indian style is something that is unique in itself, and it has roots in the British style, but it is very different, sir, from that.
What could be that difference? So that was the themes, maybe.
So the themes are different. The way of writing, for instance, there are certain stories that are told in a very storytelling format. The way our Vedas were being transmitted in a verbal format. So
Let's
that's
say if you have to compare a Catcher in the Rye, you've read Catcher in the Rye?
Sir, I haven't read it.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, Shubhanshi, that brings us to the formal end of the formal part of the interaction.
Thank you, ma'am.
How did you feel it went? What do you think you did well? Where do you think it could have been better, and why?
Ma'am, I should be updated with the current issues. That was very evident throughout. I was briefly aware of the issues, but I sort of was afraid of going into the depth and the cross questioning. So I said beforehand that I'm not very much aware, because that was the truth. I had not read the depth of it. And ma'am, certain places I feel that I could have been more crisp in my expression. I sort of got carried away. That is what I felt.
I saw an up and down in the interaction. Where you were well prepared, where you'd prepared beforehand, you did well. Your voice took on a confident note. Your body language was confident.
Yes, ma'am.
And where you were not prepared beforehand, your voice was tremulous, you were avoiding. Where you entered familiar terrain, suddenly you were confident. This is my brief impression on this quick interaction. So if that is so, then the key is you have to prepare better. You have the time just now. And I will try in my part to be very specific and guide you where and how to prepare.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, newspapers, you have said. Current affairs, you have said. You must know. And that is a killer otherwise. It's just a killer. I mean, Red Sea the question was very specific. It was to the Houthi problem, which is they're attacking ships. And you talked about Gaza and Israel. They're not the same. It was specifically. And so many things. I thought that WFI thing was dreadful, absolutely. How can you as a woman not know what is happening? And I'm talking events a year, 6 months back. Not just today. And it's developing every day in the papers. So my suggestion is you make a list of at least 50, 60 topics. See the papers. From the papers, pick up the papers from December. Identify important things which are still alive and make that list.
Yes,
then go backwards in those topics. What happened? How did it evolve? Okay. The data points and where the opinion ones, the pros and cons, you must know. Because where it comes to an opinion, you duck. Where it's an opinion on controversial matters, you disappear. Or you beat about the bush. So that is going to just kill you. Because ultimately, what is the board looking for? They're looking for an informed individual who is able to see every aspect of a matter and form an opinion, a balanced opinion. This is what is being looked for. So therefore, first of all, information must be there. Second, you must know all aspects, pros and cons. Third, you must have the ability to reach a conclusion, opinion, which is based on facts or information. This is basically what it is. So therefore, that topic business I've told you. Then, your anecdote. If you have to do an anecdote, it's good. It shows that you are very comfortable and natural and all that. It's a risky thing though. It should be very precise. It should be very brief. It should not go on and on. It should be very brief. It should bring the point out immediately. And I would suggest that very early on in the interview, an anecdote approach is not very desirable. Later on, maybe after 3-4 questions, when you're comfortable or something, then it's all right. Now, the question about the switch of fields, you have to prepare it better. You have to prepare it because you definitely get asked that question. And, yes, you showed a passion in each of them. So then the question I asked you and you would ask the unicorn question in a different manner, the same thing, that what if something else takes your fancy? So you have to prepare this particular thing. The data business, did you work after March 2022, 23?
No.
You didn't work. What, you were preparing for the
Yes,
services?
ma'am.
Or?
I was preparing.
All right. So you have to prepare this particular thing, why you did what. Now we come to the literature. My suggestion is prepare 3 poets, prepare 3 writers. You obviously have done some Dickens. You talked of Hard Times here and there, and you must have read a couple of others. I think did you refer to his Oliver? I don't think you did, but probably you've read Dickens. Which are the authors you have read?
Ma'am, Dickens I've read, Jane Austen I've read, Virginia Woolf, poets I've read Eliot,
You read what?
Eliot,
Iliad.
Wordsworth,
Homer, Odyssey, Iliad, huh?
and
Or
T.S.
something else.
T.S.
T.S.
Eliot.
Eliot, okay. Well, I'm surprised you didn't know Macavity the Mystery Cat. You must know that. You've read The Wasteland?
Yes, ma'am.
Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock,
Yes,
you know?
ma'am.
Okay. So what I suggest is prepare 3 literatures, 3 essays, 3 poets. If you cut across periods, it's even better. Okay, among the romantic poets, this is my favorite. Among the later one, like Eliot is satirical. So
Yes,
Eliot,
ma'am.
prepare Eliot. He is a different sort of a poet. Prepare Eliot, right? Third, you can prepare any other poet that you know little about. Then prepare Dickens. And who else did you read? Jane Austen. Prepare Jane Austen. It's a women's thing. Then you can give some sort of a feminist touch. You can talk about Elizabeth Barrett and all that stuff. Or you can also, have you read Jane Eyre?
No, ma'am.
Charlotte Bronte?
And I've read Pride and Prejudice.
Oh, Jane Eyre is a beauty, absolutely beautiful, far beyond anything Jane Austen has written. But anyway, so Jane Austen, prepare Jane Austen.
Yes,
3 at least, prepare those. You read them, no? Don't go reading the books now. You don't waste that time, but prepare. You know what you mean by prepare. Some characters, some qualities, some traits. Prepare in a context. Okay. So that is, and then what you say is, when if you are asked this question on literature, you can say, yes, I had a choice. I had some interest in it. Of course, I had a paucity of time. So in that period, I did prepare. And these are the favorites that I have. So you can give them an opening to ask you questions rather than leave it open-ended.
yes.
And if you do get caught with a particular person, like you get caught with me, then you say, I don't know this, but I know this.
Okay.
Okay, you can offer that. They take it up or they don't take it up. But of course, literature is so vast, you can't know everything about everything. But then this way you can get out of it.
Yes.
Now, Fatehpur, Kanpur, I don't know why you're so apologetic about Fatehpur. No, nothing to be apologetic about. It's an important town.
Ma'am,
So,
I haven't lived there for a long time. Like I just visited.
prepare.
Yes, ma'am.
Prepare that. And prepare Kanpur. Definitely prepare it. Your
Yes, ma'am.
ODOP, this, that, everything, or whatever they need to do a thorough preparation of that. Kanpur massacre, Kanpur this, Kanpur that, Kanpur in 1857, Bithur. You've been to Bithur?
Yes, ma'am.
So talk about the importance of Bithur. Just see the important places and prepare that. Then we come to the issues about extrajudicial killings. It was a very difficult question I asked you. The way I framed it made it even more difficult. The way you answered it was terrible. You beat about the bush, you did this, you went off the point, you did this, you did that. So there has to be an opinion on that. You said proper SOP is formed. What SOP is for extrajudicial killing, right? So, if I were you, it's a call for everybody to take. Ultimately, the right to take life beyond the established procedure cannot be there with anybody. And it cannot be that police decides what to do. Today, they kill off a genuine offender. Tomorrow, they kill off, like this happened. This gym instructor in Noida. The sub-inspector had an issue with him. He went to kill him off and planted something on him. So you can't give that right. A due process has been established. Yes, you will be asked the question that judiciary made, which I also asked. I was cornering you, which you can get cornered to see the depth of your convictions and how you are able to reason it out. So then you will have to say that yes, there is need for reform of the judiciary. Definitely, cases should be fast-tracked. Witness protection should be done. Read the 3 new criminal codes.
Yes, ma'am.
And relate them to answering all these things, because some of them address these issues. They give more power to the police. They give certain powers of police custody. They talk about protection of witnesses, etc. So prepare those. In any case, in current affairs you should do, but more so being from UP, from Kanpur, prepare this. Right?
Yes.
And I don't know whether how you can justify. You cannot justify an extrajudicial killing in an interview board of the IAS. If you get into the police and you are serving in the field, I'm not saying anything. But for the board of the IAS, you cannot justify it, right? So you have to prepare this. Also, you have to you prepare about the police has to put its case up better, prepare a more foolproof case before the court so they don't get bail. Those things prepare that answer. Similarly, bulldozer business also can come. UP, it sticks out and there are not that many candidates. Then wrestling federation business, you have to prepare that. It's women's rights, women's athletes is the shan of India. And now the government has taken some steps, albeit a little late. So prepare that. What would you do? What is this? What is that? But should national awards be returned? It's an insult. That's devil's advocacy may be played, but prepare. Now, 370, you were innocent as a baby of anything to do with 370. I think you took the easy way out. If I answer, madam, then she's going to ask me 20 questions. Say, I don't know. You can't do that in the interview. Huh? So please read that judgment. Please understand all of 370 properly. Huh? Then you can be asked, what about 371? Why 370? Prepare all the ramifications of that. Of the Supreme Court judgment also, please prepare properly. The 2 points that are being discussed, you cannot criticize the judgment, you cannot say anything of that sort. One is, of course, that the state's consultation business, the holding of the court on that, finding of the court, which is an unusual finding, where they say that because it was only recommendatory, the center was not bound to take that opinion. That was one thing. Second thing they have talked about, they've given a date. Somebody asked you a date for the elections, September 24. And actually what they should have, they did not give a legal opinion on, they did not rule on the issue of statehood at all. Okay. Instead of that, they directed the government to hold elections. So there, of course, the view is that they directed the election commission. They actually should have directed the government because they have to notify a state first and then have elections. So read that judgment very carefully. Read the commentaries on it very carefully. Okay. Similarly, issue that Israel. Today, Israel has attacked the central portion of Gaza, whereas the point was northern Gaza. Yes. So clearly what is coming out, which one opinion is that they wanted to get Gaza flushed out and finish the problem. So understand Gaza. What are our interests? What is our moral argument? What is our political argument? What is our national interest? Remember that. Yes. Also remember one thing. If you're ever asked a difficult moral question on something the Indian government may have done in its external policy, you always talk of national interest. Well, you can always use that word. Yes. So, I think, do you know the ODOP of Kanpur and of Fatehpur? I hope you know them.
Ma'am, about Kanpur I'm aware. About Fatehpur and Hafiz.
Kanpur is what, by the way?
Leather products in the industry and in the food side it's bakery.
Correct. All right. So you may also get about investment in UP. The Chief Minister has gone on a big way, etc. Is it coming? Just understand that pie chart, where it's coming. A lot of it coming to Noida, but it's coming to other places. What is the breakdown of the industry? So read up about UP. Read up on women's issues. All women's laws, women-friendly legislation, challenges for women today. Read all that up properly. Women, your state, your civil engineering, I think you are pretty good on that. Just brush it up. Your literature, your preparation on why you've done these switches. And I think if you do that, you're very set. You have a very brilliant career, and you are young, and there is no reason why you should not get through, but you have to, between now and your goal, there's a lot of hard work thrown in. Please get into the habit of reading the papers. Which paper do you read when you read?
I'm the Indian Express.
You read Explained? Please read that. That's the Bible. Read that, cut it out, or take it on bulletin notes, do that. Huh? Do you read a financial daily?
Ma'am, not yet. Mint I had started, but after the...
You can do Mint, you can do financial, anything. Read it. 2 hours must be there for the newspaper at least. Huh? And a channel, beyond if you want to do foreign affairs or anything you like. And also one talk show. Acha jo discuss kare, na? You get the meat of the matter. What is the pros? What is the cons? You get all that. You're very good, but there's a lot of hard work required just now. And you can do it. The time is enough. But be strategic.
5th of Jan.
That's okay. That's all right. Nothing. Somebody who has the kind of record you have, there is Nothing that can beat you. You can certainly do it. It says, Shubhanshi, it says 11th of Jan. It's 5th.
There is some issue in the recording. It's 5th
Oh,
of
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hard work, burn the midnight oil till 3rd of Jan. A
Yes.
week of midnight oil burning, be strategic. Be prioritized. Huh? Don't try to do everything now. Just be prioritized. Okay? All the best. Mr. Verma.
Yeah, Shubhanshi,
Yes, sir.
you had a detailed feedback. Must have noted the points. A few points more.
Yes.
Okay. You need to brush up on current affairs.
Yes.
And how you can do it? If you have already not done it, I will advise you to subscribe to some good newspapers like Indian Express, Hindu.
Yes, sir.
So be a paid customer of their online. This thing. It's easy. Log in with your Google account and take that subscription. These are not very costly.
Yes, sir.
It will give you access to their archives. फिजिकल न्यूज़पेपर जो आपके सामने वो केवल आज का है,
Yes, sir.
पहले के लिए बहुत दिक्कत है. And free versions will not give you access to the archive. Take the paid version, and it's not very costly. Indian Express is hardly 300-400 rupees. Hindu may be little costly. And focus on India-specific news, world, and business finance. All right.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, because you are not from the line of this thing, finance, so you may not need to go very deep in the world of finance. But the big things which are happening, current things which are happening, you should know and you should have a fairly good understanding.
Yes.
You should not miss on this. This may be taken, these may not be liked.
Yes.
Like what Supreme Court said about elections in J&K. Two things which are very much in demand by the local political parties as well as local spokesperson of J&K. They want restoration of statehood. They want elections.
Yes, sir.
Their grievance is that for an ordinary people, reaching out to a public representative is easier than reaching out to district magistrate or superintendent of police.
Yes, sir.
That a public representative is there since birth, most likely.
Yes, sir. Obviously.
But the DM and SSPs, they come and go. So they find it difficult to connect with them. तो इस पर ध्यान दो. Second is, you are an IITian and civil engineer.
Yes, sir.
Or civil engineer or whatever. If you are computer science or you're from something, IITian and your GCPA is too good. It means that you are a very serious kind of student. Rest assured, there will be some questions. So it doesn't mean that you go back to the textbook. आप सिविल इंजीनियर हो, सोचो क्या आपके आसपास हो रहा है. वही चीज जो हम देख रहे हैं आसपास क्या हो रहा है. I am driving and I find that there is water logging somewhere and road is washed out. We see the high rises coming up. In Noida, we saw 2 towers were brought down by under court order. We saw in New York 2 high-rise towers were brought down by a terrorist attack.
Yes, sir.
तो आपके आसपास जो चीजें हो रही हैं, जो न्यूज में हैं, and if they connect with your academic background, you should know.
Yes.
Because those who are in the member of the interview board or the chairperson of the interview board, they will also, those will be the first thing which will come to their mind. Like high-rise bridge on Chenab in Jammu region of J&K. Now you are a civil engineer.
Yes, sir.
So somebody may ask, what is the peculiarity? What is the special feature of this bridge? Why we quote it as engineering marvel?
Mhm.
And when you answer these questions, आप ये सोच करके आंसर करो कि सामने वाला लेमैन he knows nothing.
Yes, sir.
If he or she puts a subsequent question which is technical in nature, then you need to go in the technical details, otherwise not.
Okay, sir.
Rather, if you go in the technical details in the very beginning, the other person may get irritated. Hey, I am not a BTech in civil engineering. Why are you telling these things to me? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So just this thing, and I am very happy with your performance today. I see you a winner in you. And I will share something about fiction.
Thank you, sir. That.
In my interview in the UPSC, the first interview, there was a question put to me by the then Vice Chancellor of Delhi University. Have you read this particular author? I have never read that particular author. In UP, I was studying in a Hindi medium school. I started English fiction very late in my career. But in the back of my mind, I recall that this author writes for children. So I framed my answer on that. So by the time I started reading English fiction, I was already past that age. There was a sweet smile on everybody's face. And they went on to asking which was the first English novel which you read. And that was Godfather. So there was some discussion on that Godfather thing. I am telling you how you can easily handle a situation which may otherwise turn embarrassing. All right.
Yes.
Okay. All the best, Shubhanshi. I hope you will do very good. I would like to see your name in the final list.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay.
Okay, Shubhanshi, I think everything went fine. I would only say that, you're a wonderful civil engineer. That's your strength, actually. If you look at your profile, right, that shines out. So, then you have to justify your love for English literature. Okay, right? So the facial expressions count more rather than, okay, so the ma'am was saying, na, jab nahi aata, thoda sa down ho rahi hai, wo na hone de. Okay, still be cheerful, still be, you still say that, okay, so I, always as a child used to love reading these novels. And then, so, when I finally thought of preparing for civil services, this, my initial inclination, I wanted to obviously follow that. So I follow, to basically talk about you followed your heart while choosing your optional, right? Whereas you followed, when you're, preparing for IIT or something, you followed the fact that, okay, what would be give you social security overall in life, or you'll get a good job, etc. Right? Okay. So frame like that. This is more from the heart that I'm preparing.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. Ashika.
And I think you already like काफी well prepared and all है ना, जो current affairs में, और मैम ने भी बहुत अच्छा बता दिया आप सभी को, बहुत ही आपके पास holistic चीजें करने के लिए टाइम भी बिल्कुल क्रिस्प है. एक बस मैं आपको एक आंसर देना चाहता हूँ, जैसे ना you yourself said नो कि जो फिक्शन रिफ्लेक्शन होता है सोसाइटी का एंड वाइस वर्सा है ना, दोनों चीजों को इम्पैक्ट करता रहता है. तो बस वही है, जैसे अगर जो एक क्वेश्चन ऐसे जो फ्रेम किया था, क्योंकि आपका मैंने कुछ जो एक आंसर सुना उस पर मैंने फ्रेम किया वो क्वेश्चन कि ना कि यूएस यूके और इंडियन उसमें, तो हमारी सोसाइटी का रिफ्लेक्शन है. यूएस सोसाइटी इज वेरी इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक, तो इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक फिक्शन देखने को मिलता है बहुत ज्यादा. जैसे सर ने भी नाम लिया था, जैसे लेट्स से आयन रैंड का एटलस श्रग्ड है ना, फाउंटेन हेड, तो वो इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक दिखेगा वहां पर. और जैसे अगर यूके में देखोगे बहुत ही मॉरलिस्टिक हमें बहुत देखने को चीजें मिलती हैं जो फिक्शन में, एंड एट द सेम जो जजमेंटल एक्सेट्रा, एंड देन जैसे जो डिफरेंशिएशन कर रहे हैं, एंड इंडिया में जैसे डीकॉलोनाइजेशन का बहुत चलता है पर्टिकुलरली, और सोसाइटल दिखेगा बहुत ज्यादा, है ना, जैसे अगर वो इंडिविजुअलिस्टिक है बहुत ज्यादा, तो यहाँ पे हम सोसाइटली बहुत इम्पैक्टेड है। तो एंड कॉमन थीम्स भी हैं, माइग्रेशन कॉमन थीम्स भी हैं, माइग्रेशन, और जो इसीलिए अभी तो बहुत सारे रादर झुम्पा लहरी एटसेट्रा दे राइटिंग कंसिस्टेंटली ऑन माइग्रेशन। और स्ट्रक्चरली डिवाइडेड सोसाइटी, कहीं पे रेस के हिसाब से डिवाइडेड है ना, और जो इंडिया में क्लास एंड कास्ट भी आ गई अब, तो यूके में तो बहुत ज्यादा दिखता है आपको। तो ये इसीलिए बस ना, अब यू हैव टू थिंक ऑन योर फीट ऐसे क्विकली रैपिडली, कोई राइट आंसर रॉन्ग आंसर, एंड यू कैन नेवर प्रिपेयर फॉर सच क्वेश्चन। ये तो कभी कोई लिस्ट हो ही नहीं सकती ना कि ये क्वेश्चन की लिस्ट है। तो that's it from my side, and you're a very very good candidate, जैसे let's not जैसे jinx it, but you're a top candidate.
Sir, I'll definitely work on the current things. And sir, in case there are certain helps I need, I'll
Is there
consider.
any doubt, any question you'd like to ask any of us at this stage before we say bye to you?
Ma'am, regarding the opinion-based questions, so ma'am, while forming the opinion, what should be the basis of it? Like basis that is expected out of me.
If my take would be that first of all, you should try to be as honest as you can. That is the best philosophy, because the sincerity shines through.
Yes, ma'am.
Having said that, it's always good to have a liberal opinion. It's always good to be more liberal.
Yes.
A liberal approach, liberal thinking. Thirdly, it is not good to be critical of the government unnecessarily. However, it is good to be middle of the road. This is 3 broad things that I can advise. Otherwise, it would depend on first of all, honestly, what do you feel in the matter? I mean, there are women's issues, then you must feel for women.
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
You have that sensitization already. If it's the downtrodden, you must feel for the downtrodden. Sensitivity, empathy, you must show. Then it would also, it should reflect a patriotism. I mean, if like somebody, if they will not provoke you on that, but they could provoke somebody on the killings of the Khalistani people in Canada, or the attempted killing in US.
Yes, ma'am.
So you should always then not criticize the country at all.
And ma'am, if there is a certain point wherein the thing gets argumentative, like for instance, when I quoted the anecdote, I said that the people were having hope, and then you countered that, okay, they sit around. I said that they were welcoming, because that is what I had experienced for that.
Correct.
So ma'am, then how to handle it? Like it becomes a sort of
No. There'll be many reasons why a person interrupts like this. Normally they don't. One could be that they're just losing their patience because it's going on and on.
Okay.
In any case, if that comes, you stop that, because it's the board. Second could be sometimes they want to see how you react under pressure.
Okay.
There also you should stop but not lose your composure. Also remember, if there are some questions you cannot answer, doesn't matter. But what you answer to the best of your ability. It's a personality test. And that's also a personality quality, that don't lose hope, don't lose heart. If you watch up to, doesn't matter. There's always the next one coming. Have you read Gone with the Wind? And don't say you haven't read it. Oh my God. Anyway, so the biggest thing is her never say die spirit. Scarlett O'Hara. She's got 20 evils about her. She's machinating, she's this, she's that. But she never loses hope. The last is also, she's down and out of home, out of everything, lost the man she loved. She says, tomorrow is another day.
Yes.
So never forget that. It's there, and you've got the world before you. Don't be disheartened.
Ma'am, did you see this to some extent in today's interaction? Like whatever areas that I was comfortable with.
You improved. No, you definitely improved. Initially, you were nervous. I don't know why you were nervous. I don't know whether I caught you on the wrong foot or something, or I was I don't know what was it. But you were nervous and you were defensive. There was no need to be. You were defensive about Fatehpur. I couldn't understand why. I found that very, very strange thing. That vibe reached out to me. So I wondered why. And 7 chances out of 10, there'll be somebody with a UP background sitting there.
Yes, ma'am. Probably from this area also.
So don't be defensive, or don't criticize UP at all. It's your state. Have a pride in it. Yes, everything is not right with it. It's got indicators which are problematic. but they're working towards it, and prepare positives on UP also. Prepare. Please, after this interview, go back and prepare. You have less time, so prepare topics that you'd like to focus on. Don't do too many mocks now. You've got an assessment. Do preparation for that. And where you were like civil engineering one, you were top class, absolutely. I was listening to your voice. I was actually taking notes on what you were saying, You did so well. Yeah, of course, you did so well in that. And certain other things also, even the latter questions of the gentlemen, Varun and Shekhar, you were very shining, very good, where you were confident. Feel confident you're on top of the world. You have such a brilliant career behind you, such a brilliant academic record, such a future before you. Everything is hopeful and sunny. That's why I asked you Robert Browning. He is my favorite poet because he's so optimistic. He's always, God's up in the world, all up in heaven, and all's well with the world.
I'll read about his poetry. I'll read his poetry before the interview because
no, don't waste too much time on reading too many poems. Yeah, but you read Pippa's song. Just read Pippa's song. That's all. And don't say you're a great expert on Browning, because then they'll ask you something. Last Duchess is the opposite of that. But just be strategic. Dickens, prepare Dickens. Jane Austen, prepare Jane Austen. One poet, Eliot, prepare. Don't do too much. And if you want to read Pippa's song, read it. It's the height of optimism. Right?
Because I'm going to call myself an optimistic person. If they ask me, that is one trait I'll call out.
Yes, of course.
I'll read it and then
I'll see how your face is shining. When you see hope, your face shines. Your voice takes on a different quality. Let the board see that.
Okay.
Let them see you, the real Shubhanshi. Okay? All right. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
All the best, Shubhanshi.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All the best.